You're listening to the Personal Development Through Martial Arts podcast, the podcast where the world's highest personal development experts and martial arts masters come together to empower and inspire you to become your strongest self and live the life that you truly want. Join host Bogdan Rosu, author, public speaker, and the founder of the first personal development through martial arts school in the world, in the podcast where you become the hero.
Awesome. Sifu Stas, please tell us, for the people who don't really know you, who don't know your story, tell us a bit about, give us a bit of background, right? How did you start out your martial arts journey? How did you, what led to you creating the Wing Flow system? And then I'd like to actually talk about the Wing Flow system itself.
Yeah, okay. So I started, I was already interested in martial arts very, very early. So I was a child and I saw movies of Bruce Lee, I saw anime like Fist of the North Star, etc. You know, so do you see me? Because I have a strange... Okay.
Yeah, people
and
can
because I was
see you.
Yeah, you see me? Okay. But I was too young, you know, so my parents didn't want me to practice martial arts in a real school. So I read books, I practiced alone in my room. Mm-hmm. And like that, I developed already a passion to train alone, you know. So, when I was 12 years old, I could join a real school. So the first martial art I did was karate. Mm-hmm. Although the first stories I read and I was really impressed was Aikido. So I read in the beginning stories about the founder, Morihei Yoshiba. And wow, it was really an amazing story I read about it. But the first martial art was karate, so not kung fu. There was not a school nearby. Mm-hmm. And then through karate, I did taekwondo. I did competitions in taekwondo. Then I practiced the hybrid system, combining boxing, wrestling, kickboxing. There was also a little bit sensitivity exercises in it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I discovered Chun Fan with the Belgian representative in Leuven. And at that time, so I barely finished my studies, and then I read an article about Wing Chun, you know. Yeah. So the best schools were at that time in Germany, and the theory was really like, wow, mind-blowing. So I went to Germany to see by myself what it was, and I met Sifu Sali Afci. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He was one of the top 3 fighters of the Wing Chun clan of Leungting, and it was like, that's what I want to do. That's really the martial art, in theory, perfect. And since that time, and I never stopped to train in that direction, you know. So, of course, I trained full-time, I would say, Wing Chun in Germany. I lived there. I quit Belgium to live in Germany, to study 7 days a week. And after 10, 11 years, I met Sifu Heinrich Pfaff, who was also at that time in the Wing Chun organization. He split, he left the Wing Chun organization, he created his own federation. I joined immediately, and I stayed with him approximately also 10 years or what. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And due to internal conflicts, I decided to quit the federation. Mm-hmm, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's also the reason why I had to change the name, you know, into Wing Flow system. I had to create an own vision about martial arts.
Yeah, but so was it Wing Thai initially?
Yeah, initially it started with Yong Chun in his federation, then Wing Thai, and I would say it was really a hazard, you know, because I had already some videos, and I think I was the only one promote, I would say, more actively with videos. And I was discovered through videos in the world, and it was like a boom, you know. So suddenly pages saw my videos, they shared it. I had videos with more than 2-3 million views. And then it started with invitations. They wanted to discover what I did. And so cool. It didn't stop till now, I would say, you know. So
that is so cool. I'd love to talk a bit more about the Wing Thai system. Before we do that, let's just give a quick shout out to all the people who commented already on our live newsfeed. Sifu Thomas is saying hello from Copenhagen.
Okay.
Carmine, hi.
Hey.
Roberto, Vanessa, and Manuela. Guys, very nice to have you. And by the way, I'm just throwing it out there. Guys, go ahead and ask us questions. We will select some questions to respond to at the end of the interview, so stick around. And I will choose randomly from one of you, right? One of your questions, and one of you guys will get to win a prize, right? You get to win one of my online video courses, and you get to choose them, right? So post your questions for Sifu Mark Stas. Share this video with your friends, right? They will love you even more if you do. And at the end, I'll randomly choose one of you to win one of the Wing Chun online courses. Okay, great. That being said, Sifu Stas, please tell us more about the Wing Flow system, and what do people get wrong about it, right? What is it, and what do people misunderstand when they see the
okay.
Flow system?
Yeah. First of all, what is important is to know, of course, the name Wing Flow system changed instead of Wing Chun. So Wing Chun has been popularized by Bruce Lee, mainly by him. And suddenly in the 80s and 90s, a lot of people did Wing Chun. Then there was the Yip Man movies, and it was like a boom. Wing Chun became more and more famous. And of course, the name Wing Flow system, it's another name, and there were already a lot of different branches within the Wing Chun clan, you know. So people say again another Wing name, but I think because the main martial arts and the core of what I do still remains Wing Chun, you know. So I would say Wing Flow system doesn't exist without Wing Chun, you know. So I practiced more than 22 years ago Wing Chun very actively till now. So the principles are in it, you know. So I cannot invent something.
Yes.
Everything existed, but it is not like that I say now I do karate movements or boxing movements. It's a gradual change in development, you know. Like humans, we all change when we are a child. We have preferences. When we are adults, we grow, we change, we develop. But it doesn't mean that we change. We are all we stay human, child or adult, you know. And that's what happened with my initial martial art, Wing Chun. Yes. It changed into a more personal path, Wing Flow system. But what they know or maybe don't know is that I have a profound love for Wing Chun principles, you know. Of course, there are a lot of misunderstandings also between persons, students and instructors who practice Wing Chun. You only need to see the different
what is like one of the
you know?
What is one of the main criticism that you get for the Wing Flow system? Like, what do people who don't really understand what it is or what it represents, what do they usually say?
It depends, you know. So people who does Wing Chun, or there was someone from the Netherlands, Dave, I don't know who said, if I would have understood the principles of Wing Chun,
yes,
I would not have to create a Wing Flow system. That's because, you know, you have really short-minded persons who they don't know what they are talking about, you know. It's not a creation that I did. I didn't say now I will create something to show something else. It's not like that, you know. I grew into a system that was modified slowly. I had, I could say with luck, the best teachers I met, and I followed them, you know, with much pleasure, with a lot of passion, and from the static Wing Chun, it became something more dynamic, you know, because it was something I love to do, and I kept this thing, you know. So when you see me performing Wing Chun 15 years ago and what I do now, it's like a day and night difference. But without the Wing Chun, I would not have come so far, you know. That's something they don't understand.
Did this happen? Did this happen to you? Because I did karate also before Wing Chun, right?
Yeah.
And my kicks had like a certain type of engine or a certain type of power. Did you notice this then after starting Wing Chun and actually doing it, diving deeper and gaining more of this this engine, the Wing Chun engine, right? Did you notice that your karate punches and kicks, that they would become faster and stronger just because you also knew Wing Chun?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because you have to see the system. The system, it's one thing, you know. To have a system is one thing.
Yes.
But what is more important is the training that you give in it. It gives tools and a performance of the human body and mind. When you go back to other techniques, for example, if I would do karate at this moment, I would do it with all the training I invested during all these years. You know, it's not 5 years; it's more than 3 decades of training. That would say that I would do karate, for example, because I started with Shotokan karate. If I would do it now, I would do it in another way because I train differently. My body has been trained in another way. I use training methods that at that time in my karate time I didn't know, you know. So that means that a technique changes. It's like a beginning boxer, and look the boxer after 10 years. Look at Mike Tyson when he started, and Mike Tyson when he was at the prime of his career. You know, so it's mainly a training thing.
I think that's really funny. You know, people saying, you know what, if you understood the principles of Wing Chun, you wouldn't change it. I think it's really funny because the way, like, this is my personal point of view, right? And you guys, if you think it's stupid, if it's silly, just type a comment right in there, like express your opinion, it's fine. I think that Wing Chun is like the engine, right? You gain this very powerful engine, but the way you express that engine is very different. I mean, maybe the engine for a Ferrari is very similar from one car to the other, right? But you have different type of chassis, right? You have a very different expression of what that engine can do, right? So as long as you're using the engine, you can use Muay Thai kicks, but with the Wing Chun philosophy,
of course,
it's going to be different.
Yeah, but you know, it's something people ask me. Do you mix techniques? It's because of course I had very good instructors who helped me to practice, to gain insight in martial arts, you know. And I would say that even if I would do another technique, I will always link it with sensitivity reflexes, always, because I trained the most of my life. I trained Wing Chun, you know. So that means that everything that I do, every movement, every technique, I watch that the principle of sensitivity linked to visual reaction, that speed and power has something that goes back to a security, you know. The security to me, it's when there is too much force, how can I attract it, guide it, and with my skills, how can I overcome it? And I would say the Wing Chun principles to me were the best tools that I could use, because it's personal. If people tell me I love Kyokushinkai karate, it fits to me, I would say, because I'm not big, you know, I am, and the best martial art that I could find, and I still find it the best for me, that is in the kind of Wing Chun, you know, because it has tools for smaller persons to be really effective in combat. And I would say I did seminars in a lot of countries. I met fighters, world champions, instructors, masters. I went in Brazil, I went in Italy, in France, in Switzerland, in the Netherlands, in Germany, in Thailand, you know. And I could say with what I can do, it was like I had something to offer to them, even if they were world champion, you know. So that means that the way I train, and it's mainly in the Wing Chun way, it has a huge potential.
Do you think that's like one of the reasons? Because guys, you don't know this. We were talking about this before. That Sifu Stas often gets mistaken for DKU, right? Do you think that's like one of the reasons why people confuse you with DKU? That you're going around the world and doing seminars?
Yeah. Yeah, that is true, but yeah, that's because we both are Asian, you know. So he's South Korean, me too, and I think that suddenly our videos became famous around the same time.
Yeah,
you know?
And you're both wearing red. You're wearing red training clothes as well, right?
Yeah, but that's a hazard, you know. I would say that. Someone who knows martial art, he can differentiate what I do and what DK does. You know, when people say I am imitating him or he's imitating me, that's because their level is still not high enough to differentiate it. Because look, DK he pretends to do 21 martial arts. I always stick to one martial art, you know. I never mixed more martial arts. I only did one martial art, and that's also my strong point, you know. So that's already something that it's a huge difference, you know. I don't say I do Savat, I do Systema, I do this. Of course, I'm interested in a lot of martial arts.
You kind of lost me there because you know, looking at your videos, it doesn't look like one martial art, right? Because you see a bit of Wing Chun, you see a bit of Muay Thai, you see a bit of karate, you see a bit of boxing, right? So it doesn't look like one martial art. Maybe okay, it is the Wing Flow system, right?
Yeah,
but I wouldn't say that it's like one. People like if you see Tai Chi, you recognize it immediately, right? If you see karate, you recognize it immediately. If you see boxing, you recognize it immediately. So. Yeah, you know, why do you see it that way? Like, why is it just one martial art? Let's talk a bit about that.
Yeah, I don't hear you well.
You don't hear me very well?
No. Yeah, I hear, but it's cutting, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it must be from my internet connection. So, what I was asking, like, what do you feel? So you said it's one martial art, but when you watch your videos, it's like a bit of everything, right? It's a bit of boxing, it's a bit of Wing Chun, it's a bit of karate, right? When you say it's one martial art, are you referring that it's just the Wing Flow system that you're doing?
But look, I would say the execution of the movements, maybe it's visually different, but the principles, you know, because of course I had a big impact was given to me by Sifu Mark, you know. So that means he did his martial arts, you know. So his Wing Chun, he had Eskrima experience. He modified it into his Wing Thai. Of course, I had training in it very intensively. And but the theory, it's one thing, you know. You can trace everything back to Wing Chun, because look, when you read the articles of Gutierrez, Victor Gutierrez, who is a very famous Spanish Wing Chun instructor. At that time, in the 90s, he already spoke about when you have the higher levels in the Wing Chun, it's like a different martial art, you know. So in the beginning, you have a static position, you have chain punches, And when you have the higher level, you suddenly become more flexible. You have another stance. The punches are not really anymore one vertical fist, but you have horizontal punches. You have elbows. So there already in the Wing Chun, you have different levels. You know, when you see, for example, the long pull gives you an additional punching like boxing. You know, the stance when you have a long pull in your hand. Your weight cannot be all the time back. Your weight comes in front, in the middle. And that's why when you have only knowledge about the classical basic Wing Chun system, then of course you see Man Sao, Wu Sao, you have the internal rotated adduction stance, you have a few positions, but you don't have the dynamic, you know. They say in the Wing Chun that the highest levels it's the footwork, the kicking and the footwork. That's the highest level, you know.
Yeah. I see what you mean now. I see what you mean. Awesome.
And
let's dive a bit into you know, why should you created the Wing Flow system.
Yes.
What are the concepts? Like, if you were to take 3 ideas from the Wing Flow system that would benefit and would help everyone watching right now. And guys, thank you so much. We're having 60 people watching us live. What would you share with them, like 3 ideas from the Wing Flow system that would contribute to their performance, to their Wing Chun? What should they know?
Yeah, I think that in the Wing Flow system, what I stress a lot is, especially in the sensitivity, I work a lot with eyes closed, and that means that when we speak about sensitivity and visual reactions, most of the time people who does Wing Chun, they see Chi Sao as sensitivity, but it's mainly a coordination thing, and in real sensitivity, it's very few that you can see that they develop, you know. So they do sensitivity, they do drills, but what I learned in my experience is that if you have a good coordination and you train a lot the drills and the sections, that you can be very fluid. But it is not, for me, it's not really sensitivity reflexes. So
how
what I do
get like real sensitivity? What should they do?
Real sensitivity is, for example, you know, if you want to benefit about reaction through sensitivity, is, for example, if you have your eyes closed, you have your stance. When we speak about Wing Chun, Man Sao, Wu Sao, and for me, one of the basic exercises when you have Man Sao, Wu Sao, and you have the Pak Sao and the punch, Pak Sao, Pak Dar, you know, when you have Pak Sao and the punch, the trigger is when I touch your arm, then you have Pak Sao punch. That's for me the trigger. That means you will not see when I touch your forearm, but you have to feel it, you know. That's for me sensitivity. Even if it's only a basic exercise, that when you close your eyes, you have your Man Sao, Wu Sao. And at the moment that you feel the contact, then you start it Pak Sao punch. That's for me, that's the trigger. That's more sensitivity than when you roll the arms and you do movements. You know, that's more coordination. You know, so what in the Wing Flow system, I added a lot the sensitivity with eyes closed. You know, the exercises can be the same or similar, but it's how it is triggered. That's what I stress more. You know. And I speak only about one exercise. That's a little bit how I see the linking between visual. When I'm visual, you want to hit me. You have basic defenses. And at the moment that you close your eyes and there is a touch, then it triggers a sensitivity reflex. That's how I train the sensitivity.
And let me ask you, because I was looking at one of your videos yesterday before I did the announcement of this interview. And in one of the videos, you were wearing like boxing gloves, and I saw very, very nice reactions like from distance. A lot of Wing Chun people, they're very, very good when in close distance because they feel with their arms, right? They're very sensitive. But when it comes to long distance and timing, they really struggle with that, right? So how do you develop your timing and your reaction, your sensitivity when you don't have contact, right? When you don't touch,
the forearms or the limbs.
Exactly.
Listen, it is a mix of different facets.
Yeah.
So on distance, first of all, if you speak about training, then you need to know what will you do, what are you doing. So first of all, if you have a basic punch, a jab in boxing. And the exercise would be you have to evade, you have to evade and use, for example, the pak sao, but to guide it and not to push it. Yeah. Then you need to concentrate on this exercise. That means that first of all you need to master the correct distance.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the static Wing Chun, they don't have a clue about the correct distance. They want to go in the in-fight distance. But a boxer is not always on the same distance as you want. So you need to go on a further distance.
Yeah.
And from there, you need to throw punches, but to train it. To train, that means there is a minimal risk to have injuries,
Yes.
And then it's a training method, So I use a lot training methods for reactions. To become very relaxed on distance, and that's something I think it's one of my stronger points.
Yeah,
although that I'm specialized on the close range fighting, that's more my specialty, of course.
Something that had a huge impact on me at the beginning of this year, and something that I asked about because we were talking about DKU earlier, right? He came to Romania in the beginning of the year. And we had a lot of fun in his seminar, and that's when we did the interview, right? If you haven't seen the interview, go to my YouTube channel, Empower Your Life with Bogdan and Rosu. You'll see the interview with DKU, and we were talking exactly about the footwork in Wing Chun, right? Because our hands in Wing Chun, they're amazing, right? At the same time, I feel that most Wing Chun practitioners are too stuck to the floor, so they have no idea of using distance, and that's that was something that I struggled with when I was trying to apply my Wing Chun against karate, against like boxers and stuff like that, just closing the distance. And after the discussion with DKU, I really started thinking about this idea of having more mobile footwork and going faster in and out, and I changed the way I teach. Right, I basically flipped it on its head in the sense that now I teach beginners this idea of stepping quickly in and out and defending against straight punches like jabs, defending against hooks. So we start with that, and then we dive into the Wing Chun engine, right? Because if you're used to somebody punching and kicking you in a wider spread way, in a non-Wing Chun way from the beginning, I believe that your Wing Chun will make a lot more sense once you start to dive into its soul, its heart, right?
Yeah, but you have to know also, so I was told when I practiced in Germany Wing Chun, they said that Wing Chun is already a specialization, so a lot of people, Wing Chun, if you think about it, Wing Chun is very strong at close quarter combat, because what they exported in Europe, America, etc., and also as a system, it has to be strong in the infight. You have it's I think a logic when you know it, because look, in the Wing Chun they have chi sao. Chi sao as sensitivity, purely sensitivity reflexes. We have a lot simultaneous attacks. We have really short range movements. So the main focus of Wing Chun is the close range combat,
Yes.
So it's a little bit like wrestling. Wrestling
is specialized.
Specialized in the close range combat, in the throws, etc., etc. So then you have to think, why would Wing Chun people want to do Wing Chun and say, with Wing Chun, I need to fight against a boxer, against a taekwondo, against the purpose was not to invent Wing Chun, to be flexible on all distances in the beginning, you know. And I think a lot of people got stuck in Wing Chun and trying to let function something close range against all distances. That's not possible. It's really difficult to do it like that, you know.
Like, there's this legend, right, that it was used in assassinations in China, where it was taught to assassins and stuff like that. Do you think that's one of the reasons why it stayed for close range? You know, it needed to be very effective in close ranges.
Yeah, you know, the origin. You know, I was not there when they invented Wing Chun. You know, so I cannot because there is always when someone creates a martial art.
Yeah.
The idea, there is always an idea, you know. For example, in Aikido, Morihei Yoshiba, he created his Aikido not with the purpose to hit and to hurt people. On the contrary, that's why a lot of people don't understand Aikido. They think we need to fight with it. The founder never created Aikido to fight with it. It was a personal expression, and it's a genius. He was a genius, a warrior, but he had an idea. Bruce Lee, he created his Jeet Kune Do because he had a vision about martial arts. It was unfinished, you know. So people teach Jeet Kune Do, but Bruce Lee never wanted to promote Jeet Kune Do as it's now promoted in the world. So you can look like all the founders, like Jigoro Kano. He created it. Judo, he extracted it from Jiu-Jitsu, etc. So, you know, and Wing Chun has to be the same. It has been created
like an expression
for a certain reason. And if you want to change the concept, then I think you lose you lose the reason about it, you know. People want to let function Wing Chun in MMA fights, but MMA
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Yeah, you can see like concepts that we normally use, like kicking to the knees. That would be called like a diagonal kick or some stuff like that in MMA. But pure Wing Chun, I don't know about using it.
Look, Bogdan. You know, a lot of people ask me when I was invited in Brazil. You know, I was confronted by a Muay Thai champion, Brazilian champion. And he asked me questions about how I did it, you know. So I show how I will do it. But the main difference that they encountered in Brazil, there are very good fighters, but I wear shoes, you know. So I don't practice barefoot. So with shoes, they have problems because they don't know what happened when I kick with my shoes. It's a hell of pain.
Okay.
You know, they can be trained with their shins, but when I kick with my shoes, and it are normal shoes, sports shoes, soft shoes, because when I teach, I wear soft shoes. When I wear other shoes and I kick with it, that's pain, you know? And then they
like
suddenly
when I think of this stuff,
wow.
Okay, like I have an idea. I just want to congratulate Vanessa and Ralph for posting their first 2 questions. Guys, don't forget to post your questions in the comment section. We'll do our best to answer them towards the end of the interview, so stick around. So yeah, what I wanted to say, like every time I think of or I talk about kicking, it reminds me of when I first met Gary Lam, for example, in Crete. And, you know, in his Cantonese accent, he's like, shoes are weapons, right?
Yeah, but it is like that. Look, of course, I'm adept and I'm sure about the efficiency of Wing Chun or Wing Flow system, you know. So if not, I would not practice it, you know. I admire a lot of martial arts, maybe for one thing or another, but to me, because it has to fit to my need, and my need is not sports, you know. Although that I could do sports, but I am not a sportsman. I'm not a combatant in a ring or what, because if I need to adapt to sports with gloves like this, I have to train differently, you know, and I would be not in advantage because Wing Chun gave me tools that has very good possibilities against someone who's bigger and longer and stronger than me. So I cannot change the way I execute it because I trained too long in that system, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But people want to modify it to fit to sports. It is fine, you know. I'm the first to say I would love to train combatants with my wing flow system to give them maybe some additional techniques or principles that they can use. But I will never change the way I train for a sport because it's too late for me. You know, I train too long in all the specialized hitting and punching to the throat, etc. I cannot stop it. You know, when I'm forced to use it, I cannot say, oh, my brain will not say, don't hit to the throat, don't do this. I cannot because it's a part of me now, you know. After all these years of intensive training, my reflexes, they come out like the way I trained, you know.
Awesome, awesome. Sifu Stas, tell us a bit about your movies. The movies that
Oh, the movies, yeah. That was, I would say, that was really a hazard, you know. So I was invited by a very good friend who is a big actor, Ron Smorenberg. He played, by the way, with Tony Jaa, with Donnie Yen, with Jackie Chan, you know. So he played with all the best martial arts actors. And suddenly I came there, I met him, we trained together. He was like, wow, we have to do something together. I met a producer who produced a movie. It was at the final stage of his movies, and he saw what I did. And he really wanted me to do a fight scene.
Yeah.
And so in the end, within the 3 months, movie where I played the main character, and I played in 3 movies, so 2 English movies and 1 American movie. And I could say it's unique because I could use movements of my wing flow system. I could do some sensitivity in it. I could do some really very fine kicking techniques that I don't think that you saw it in martial arts movies.
Was it like one of your dreams come true? Like one of your childhood dreams come true?
Yes. I would say already to play in 1 movie for me it was like wow, but in 4 movies, Bogdan, it was like 1 movie, 2 movies, 3 movies, 4 movies. Yes. And especially because I could show, you know, it's not that I did as a stuntman, I didn't teach to someone else, but I could show myself movements, you know. And then I said, wow, it's like wow, yeah, it really, it was a real pleasure. It's like what I do, the martial arts I do as a passion, I could put it in movies. Okay, I had to adapt it, and what I do, it's not 100% what I could show in movie, because movies is movies. But at least I could show some of the movements I love, with the elbows, with the kicking, and some fight movements, something in the sensitivity reflexes. So I would say all the people who love Wing Chun or want to see some very fast and explosive fight movements, then they definitely will like what I did in the movies.
Where can people watch the movies?
What? I didn't
understand. Where can people see the movies?
Sorry, it's cutting. I just heard movies, but the rest.
Where can the people watching? Where can they watch your movies? Where can they see it?
But at this moment, I don't know. There is a short movie that will be released, I think, for March. And the 3 other movies, there is 1 movie, The English Dogs, the film, which will be released worldwide. So normally it will be seen in all the world in the cinemas, but it will be released only end of this year, so around November or what. But I will post it on my Instagram account. Awesome. And my Facebook, and there I played 2 fight scenes, really good. There is another movie where I played a killer, so a really good one. I don't know, it will be this year, but I don't have a clue when exactly. And then I played in an American movie, so that will be released for sure in America, and maybe it will be seen also in Europe. But I don't know at this moment.
So guys, go ahead and follow Sifu Stas right after this interview. Check him out and follow his page, Wing Flow System, and you will get like notifications when these movies are available, right? I'm excited to see them. I'm very excited to watch them as well, right? Because I feel that more people will become curious about Wing Chun, and you know, it's good for everyone, you know. Awesome. Do you remember like your first ever martial arts movie that you watched as a kid?
Oh yeah, of course.
Which one was it?
The first movie was Enter the Dragon.
Wow. You're so lucky.
I was very young, you know. So, but when I saw that movie, and it is true, we speak about Bruce Lee as a genius in martial arts.
Yeah.
But on screen, you know, he's like, you see him and you only see him. You know, he has an aura. He has an expression unique. You know,
and so magnetic. Like this huge magnetic personality.
Yeah. As a child, you know, because I was already like passionate about martial arts, but when you see on screen someone like Bruce Lee, who is excellent in martial arts, and the movies are like, wow, you can never forget that, you know. So as a child, especially as a child, you need heroes, you know. You need heroes, you need inspiration, and that's something that he gave it to me, you know. This
for everyone watching right now, guys, please post in the comment section what was your first martial arts movie that you watched as a kid, right? We're very curious to find out. So post it in the comment section. We'll love to read it, and we'll give you a shout out. And you're very lucky because, for example, my first ever martial arts movie was Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay.
Awesome movie, but I'm sorry, it doesn't compare to with Enter the Dragon, right?
Oh, Bloodsport, you mean? No, it was really a very good movie because at that time in the 90s, Bloodsport,
it was like, it blew you away.
Yeah, because there are martial art movies, but there was a stop, you know. So I think Jean-Claude Van Damme with Bloodsport came at the right moment to boost again martial arts. And I was also one of them. I was already a little bit older, but it was like, wow. Yeah. I remember the first friend of mine who said, Mark, I know someone who is better than you in martial arts, Jean-Claude Van Damme. I never heard about him. You know, I said, who the hell is Jean-Claude Van Damme at school? And then I saw Bloodsport. I said, oh my God, so good. I was really like, wow. So I was also a big fan of, a huge fan of Jean-Claude Van Damme at that time, you know. So it was a very good movie, you know. So
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm actually grateful for it, you know. I had no idea who Bruce Lee was for a long time, right? Because in Romanian, we didn't say Bruce Lee, we said Bruce Lee, right? Like one word, Bruce Lee.
Okay.
And I had like, who is this Bruce Lee guy, right? And then like when I actually saw one of his movies, I said, whoa, okay, wow, right? Awesome. So do you think like your movies will inspire more people to take up martial arts?
I don't know, because you know, in this era there are already a lot of movements, a lot of movies with martial arts movements. But what I can say that is because I am a practitioner of the Wing Chun martial art, so even if it's Wing Flow system, but definitely I think when they see what I do, they will say, oh, there are some similarities with Wing Chun. So maybe they, no, I'm sure they will be interested, because look, I filmed the fight scene with a very good friend of mine, with Ron, who is a martial artist also.
Did you kick his ass?
What?
Did you kick his ass?
Yeah, in one movie I kicked his ass, but he's playing the main character, so he has to kick back my ass.
That's good.
But he has, he has some good hits in it,
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
but I was really.
Let's give a shout out to Stephanie. Stephanie said her first ever martial arts movie. It wasn't really a movie; it was a show. That show Kung Fu.
Kung Fu show.
Stephanie, when I started watching Kung Fu, I just had to watch it until the end. Right? I couldn't stop myself from watching the next one and the next one. Like, full of wisdom, Kung Fu, right?
Very good. Yeah. Of course. Look when you see the series Kung Fu with David Carradine.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one.
Powerful the philosophy. Even now it's something from the 70s, I think. But the theory, the philosophy, it's
super valuable.
I think
super valuable.
Yeah.
And Ronnie saying his first martial arts movie was Battle Creek Brawl with Jackie Chan. Is this really Battle in the Bronx or
no, that's
Rumble in the
one.
Bronx, or it's a different movie?
It's a different movie. Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I need to watch
the one.
Thank you, Ronnie.
The one he's talking about is about a prize fight. So on the street and different fighters and martial artists fight together to win the first prize. So it's in
okay,
older.
I have to watch this one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ronnie. Awesome. And Carmine is saying Kato and the Green Hornet in the 60s on TV.
But that's with Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee, yeah. Bruce Lee was a badass, but I think they didn't really let him do his thing, during Kato and the Green Hornet. They were like watering down his techniques and making it look like all like flamboyant stuff like that, right? Which, yeah, I'm glad he did something else. He did his thing.
Yeah,
great.
Of course.
Let's shift to questions.
Yep.
Guys, we'll be moving towards your questions. We'll be starting with Vanessa's question. If something comes up, right, ask yourself, if I were to ask one question right now, what would that be? And notice what's coming up, right? And type it in the comment section. Vanessa's asking, who is your biggest role model?
Role model.
Yeah.
In martial arts or in movies or.
I don't know. That's all she said. That's all she wrote.
Yeah. I don't know. During my complete career of martial arts, each instructor I had gave me inspiration. So I followed the teaching of different martial artists, different teachers. And at that time, they all were big inspirations and role models, So I would say thanks to each of them, good or bad experience, I can only thank them, So at every period of my life in my Wing Chun or martial arts career, each Sifu or teacher was a role model, Actually, I don't really follow someone who's guiding me, but it's I would say thanks to internet, thanks to sometimes words or training videos or martial arts videos, I find role models. But it's not role model anymore, but it's more like fascination, inspiration, and ideas to continue to train and to love martial arts. So the role model, I think when I was younger, I had that like all. But when you grow older, you find your way and you put a fire and passion in what you do. Through less role models, but more the what you do, So I don't have really a role model at this moment, although a lot of people inspire me or give me strength to continue. For example, when I was in Thailand, I met a lot of martial artists and actors, and really good martial arts actors, and they give me inspiration and fire to continue what I do, because they love what I do. They didn't say do something else. So
I feel like that every time I do an interview with with people like you, with Sifus. And by the way, guys, if you want to check out all the interviews that we've done, go to iTunes, search for Personal Development Through Martial Arts podcast, or just Google it, and you'll find all the interviews, And for me, it's every time, and I eye and heart opening experience, because I personally get a lot out of these conversations.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because the thing is, I stick to my martial arts, but other martial artists, other teachers, other persons who are involved in a way to guide me further, they inspire me, even if it are other martial arts. That's why for me, like to see someone as a concurrent, it's not so. It's not possible for me,
right?
because
there's room for everyone, actually.
Yeah, you know, because when you do your thing, you don't need to change all the time. You know, sometimes people, they are inspired by one person, they change martial art, and that's not the purpose. You know, that's not.
This is actually reminding me of something that Matthew McConaughey said when he got an Oscar, right? And I love that. I love that so much. Like, somebody asked him when he was 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
They asked him, "Who's your hero?" Right? And his answer was, "Me in 10 years."
Yeah. Whoa.
And then
really?
At 25, they asked him again, "Who's your hero?" And he said, "Me in 10 years."
Yeah.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. Let's move on to Rolf's question. He's asking, it's okay to be on the floor, but feeling loose, comfortable. Basic boxing is the concept, Wing Chun concepts, and whatever. No, it's not a question, actually. It's a comment. Sorry.
It's a comment. Yeah.
Okay, but Rolf, if you would have just put like a question mark at the end, you could have won one of the video courses. Cool.
Let him edit his question. Just put a question mark.
Right.
You know?
Cool. Stephanie is asking, have you had long-term physical issues such as knee injury? How do you deal with the frustrations of a health issue interfering with your training?
Yeah, of course. You know, I practice sports since I was very young, and I practice martial arts more than 32 years. So I faced a few years ago really bad problems with my shoulders. So a specialist told me, you have like a boxer syndrome. It's like a boxer who is boxing too intensively. I had the same problems, and it took me 2 years to get, I would not say to get rid of it, but to be able again to train normally. Even now, I need to be careful. So that means that
heal. What did you do to heal your shoulders?
I got a treatment every day during 2 years. So that means I saw an osteopath every week. I saw a reflexologist, you know, so foot reflexology. I did every week also. And I have a kind of a chi pointer, a Korean thing. It's a tool with magnetics, and I did it every day, you know, so it takes a long time to do it, 1 hour and a half, but I did it every day. And I couldn't train anymore, so I just teach. People don't know, you know. Within 2 years, it was in 2015, 16, you know, when I became more famous with my videos. At that time, I had a lot of problems with my shoulders. So
wow.
I would say till now, I never could practice 100% at my capacity, you know. So what you see on videos, it's not 100%. You know, so but I did all the training. I modified my complete training regime. So, for example, push-ups I don't do anymore since a long time. Training with weights I don't do anymore. I didn't do so much. Boxing against the boxing bag I don't do anymore. So I had to modify all the way I train. I had to change it. But I need to have power. I need to have strength, power, to have explosive movements. So I found other ways to do it. So I had to find other ways not to lose what I did, and I found it. So I was blessed to search.
Did you find out what caused your shoulder injuries?
Yeah. Because like a lot of persons who does a lot strength training to the front, you know. So I had also my shoulders more to the front. Yes. I worked a lot with elastics. I did a lot of movements straightforward with chain punching and boxing techniques and push-ups a lot, and it gave a lot of tension in the shoulder joints, the ligaments, the tendons, and my body, I would say, was too frail, was too I would say the power I could put on my tendons was too big, so I had a lot of explosive power. Yeah, but my body was too weak, you know, so the explosion I could put was too big in my body, you know, so, and that gave a lot of friction and problems. You know, sometimes I punched so explosive that I had blue, it became blue here or here, because it was like a micro, how we say, small tears in my muscles, so explosive, because I am really explosive, you know, when I punch or attack very quick. The problem is that in the beginning my muscles became like too quick, like an elastic, and it gave these problems, you know. I trained too explosive, you know.
Stephanie, I would like to share something with Stephanie as well that might help her. One of my students, actually, before she started Wing Chun, she used to do a lot of rock climbing, and she had an injury with one of her knees, and the doctor said, you know, your sports, everything, like rock climbing, whatever you want to do, that's over, right? You cannot do any of that anymore. We have to do surgery, we have to do this and that. I can't remember exactly what it was. But she said, you know what, let me just try something else. Like, let me just try like another route. So what she did, she started doing a lot of healing, you know, like getting in touch with healers. And she would spend, very similar to what you shared as well, like 1 hour a day, you know, on healing her knees. So Stephanie, it's absolutely like, if you have, you know, something like knee injury, surgery is great as well. It's like something that you have to choose. If you believe that surgery is going to help, then surgery is going to help. If you believe that healing, just like you know, acupuncture will help, it will, because you know, like your body wants to heal itself. You just need to let it, with your conviction, with your beliefs, something like that. So, long story short, my student in like 1.5 years was healed. Like she could use her knee without any problems. Anyway, if you just do the forms, the Wing Chun forms, your knee should be fine, because there's not you don't need to strain your knees while doing the forms. So yeah, in my humble opinion.
Correct.
Okay, guys, we'll be wrapping this up. I see Stephanie was, Stephanie is coming back with a comment as well. She's saying, I have fibro. My knee was being bit by a bear, kicked by a cow, and I've been thrown through a wall. I'm surprised I can walk, period, but I'm so frustrated with the pain right now. Thank you both for talking to me about this. That is so cool. Stephanie, write me a message, and I'll get you in touch with my student. She speaks English very well, and you guys can discuss about this. Maybe she can give you some valuable insight on how to heal yourself. But this is an amazing story. Like, bit by a bear, kicked by a cow, and thrown through a wall. You guys should do a movie together, Sifu Stas. You and Stephanie.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a topic for a new upcoming movie, you know. But like, I'm sorry that I'm laughing, Stephanie, because it's not fun for her, but it's original, you know. So it's an original injury she had, you know.
Yeah. Something she could, like, nobody would believe her, or nobody believes her though. Because like too many, like one after the other. Awesome. Okay, Stephanie, we're feeling for you, and we're honestly hoping that you get back together, you know, and heal very soon.
Yeah, I hope also.
Awesome. Okay, we'll be wrapping this up. Sifu Stas, please ask, if you could ask everyone watching one question, what would that be? It could be like something regarding the Wing Chun, something about their lives, something that you want feedback on, maybe, right? What would you ask them?
Yeah, what interests me, it's especially for those who practice Wing Chun or martial arts. What's the main reason? You know, what's the main reason to choose Wing Chun or karate or boxing? You know, so that's something for me always interesting to hear. People who practice martial arts or combat sports. What's the main reason they practice that typical martial art or sport? And not something else, you know.
I love that.
That's something that I really like to hear when people do something. For me, it's because of course every person has a reason, but I'm always interested to hear their story, why they practice Wing Chun or karate or wrestling, you know. So because
I love that question.
Yeah, so that's that would be my main question to ask. Why you choose that typical martial arts, you know?
I love that. Awesome, guys. So post it in the comment section below why you do, you know, your particular martial art, and we will get in touch. I'll be replying to your comments in the next 24 hours. So everything you post, I'll get in touch with you. And you know, there's the competition now is between Stephanie and Vanessa. Who asked the questions, right? Well, I'll use random.org, and you know, either of one of you who wins, you know, I'll contact you personally and send you whichever online course you choose. Awesome! I had so much fun. Thank you so much, Sifu Stas, for taking the time.
Okay, many thanks, Bogdan, for the interview. It's our second interview, and I've always a great time, you know. So many thanks to invite me to give this interview. And although that I don't see very well the video, you know, so everything is blocking on my side, but at least I hear you. So that's. But I will verify. I will watch the video again when the video is running, because at this moment I don't see anything about it.
Guys, I'll post the edited version of this interview on my YouTube channel called Empower Your Life with Bogdan. And also on the Facebook page, addicted2wingchun.com. That's with a 2. And you'll probably see it also over at Sifu Stas' Sifu Stas' profiles and Facebook pages. And if you want to listen to this interview in your car while driving, if you haven't seen the full interview, or maybe you're doing your dishes and you have your headphones on, go ahead and search for the Personal Development Through Martial Arts podcast. Google it or search it on iTunes. Until next time, have a powerful training and answer. And we're looking forward to seeing your answers for Sifu Stas' question.
Okay. Right. Many thanks to all for watching and listening. And Bogdan, many thanks, and I would say have a great evening, you know, so we keep in touch, and many thanks again.
No problem.